Hey, everybody, welcome to the show today. This is a really important show because there's a lot of people, I think, in the next few weeks that are going to be hurting a little bit. We've talked about it before on all the shows about the student loan forgiveness and student loan delay that we've seen since March of 2020. We're now rolling into September 2023, and that program has been shut down, so to speak, and we're getting back to people having to pay for their student loans. So today I brought Damon Thompson on. Damon is an expert really in looking at ways to reduce student loan debt. There's a lot of government programs. I know a lot of people have been waiting around for the president and the executive branch to stroke a pen and get rid of student loan debt, and it's been fought in the courts. There's a lot of other programs that are available, and Damon can talk to that a little bit. So welcome to the show, my friend. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing well. Yeah, you heard that in the background. That is actually a fax machine. I still have a fax machine.
Nice.
Thanks for having me on. Should I just unplug that?
Oh, no, we can't even hear it. So you're good.
Okay. So
Mike's
we're good.
not even picking it up. So we're good. So Damon, tell us a little bit about how you got involved in all of this. Where did this come up? I think first, what's the big problem that we're facing right now? What's the big ugly that's out there?
Okay. So the big ugly is in October, people who have federal student loans are scheduled to start repaying those loans again.
Mm-hmm.
In September, the interest started accruing on those loans again.
Okay.
And there haven't been payments on the loans nor interest accruing since March of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And so in March of 2020, if you think back, that's when the big COVID hit was.
Mm-hmm.
Trump was president at that point, and he put both of those two things on pause. They were continued under the Biden administration on pause. And the big brouhaha has been, is the federal government just going to wipe it out with a stroke of a pen, like you said? That was proposed. It went through the courts. It went up to the Supreme Court. And this spring, the Supreme Court says, no, you don't have the ability to just make it go away. So they schedule the restart. And now we're at the starting line, and everybody's getting in the blocks. So that's what's happening here in a couple of weeks.
So let's talk about how big of a thing this is as far as our economy goes. What is the outstanding student debt that's out there right now?
In round numbers, $1.7 trillion.
Yes. So
if you put that in perspective, our entire economy is about 22 trillion.
Yes.
Annually. So
1/10.
It's a huge number. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, 1/10 of our entire economy is in student loan debt. And if you related that around the world, there are many countries that don't get to 1.7 trillion in any given year. On average, and you know these numbers, on average, what is the average student? What are they going to expect to have to start writing a check for at this point?
I would say probably, let's say $500, give or take. And that depends on what you've been doing. You could have borrowed money and gone to a vocational school, and you may owe 20, 30, 40,000. Yeah. You could have borrowed money, and if you go all the way through, let's say dental school or med school, you're easily at $250,000. Yeah. $500 doesn't touch it when you're at that level.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I saw a statistic of something you sent me before this that was the shocker for me, that 1 in 3 borrowers have a student loan payment that's bigger than their mortgage or rent at this point. That's
definitely. Yeah. Because a lot of people have.
That's a big scary.
And that is really, without a way of finding some relief, it's delaying people going from an apartment to their first house. Yep. It's the difference between driving a car that's not reliable to the one that is reliable. Looking for relief is really what our objective is.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about that. I know the Biden administration has tried to push this thing through. They're trying to come at it from different angles and they keep getting cut off. Are there federal programs that help to reduce student loan debt?
Yes, there are.
Okay.
And those are operated out of the Department of Education.
Okay.
Let me draw a parallel here. There are Washington, D.C. has many departments, and each one of them is rife with their own subsidies. There are subsidies for people in the Midwest to grow corn so that we have ethanol to help with gasoline, have lower emissions. There are subsidies to pay. I have a lot of family in Kentucky. There are a lot of subsidies that go to tobacco farmers not to grow tobacco. And those come out of the agricultural department. Okay, so there's a lot of different subsidy programs that are trying to incent certain behavior.
Yeah.
The Department of Education has arguably 70 plus different federal subsidy loan repayment programs. Each one of them has a different set of qualifications, regulations surrounding it, income requirements, et cetera. But there are 70 plus programs been out there for years. People just don't know it or aware of it or can get through the system.
Yeah. And it's navigating the bureaucracy. What are those things designed to do? Are they designed to defer payments, reduce payments? What's really the purpose of these?
The subsidy is literally designed to reduce the financial obligation.
Okay.
So, for example, I have my very first client, his payment was $780 a month. In that particular gentleman's case, his subsidy is $760 a month. It's out there. He was a law school graduate. So he's writing a check for 20. The balance goes through that federal program. And he just continued to work with the exact same loan service provider. It's just that the numbers are changed. We've got the average person reduces their payment by 63%. That was an above average case, but it just shows the programs are out there and they're working.
Yeah. So it sounds too good to be true that the government could actually do something efficient. Where's the catch to all this?
What I would tell you is there isn't a catch. The programs are there. They're approved by Congress. The money's been appropriated. The difficulty, and I'm differentiating that from the catch, the difficulty is dotting all the I's, crossing all of the T's to get through the qualification process. With their own reporting, the Department of Education says about 3% of the people are successful in getting through the process. In my world, that's a 97% failure rate.
Yeah, the government looks at it as a 3% success rate, and I think the rest of the world goes with you.
And what we do, the way that we attack this process, is we look at all 70 programs and then start weeding them out. So you're not guessing what to apply for.
Yeah.
Our success rate is well over 80%. 80% of the time, we're successful in achieving a subsidy.
Yeah, some kind of it at that point.
Exactly.
I would look at this from the point of view of employer. There's a couple different ways, and I know about some of the services y'all offer. There's a couple ways to attack this. It could be from an individual perspective, but it can also be an employee benefit that a company could provide and not necessarily have a lot of out-of-pocket costs, correct?
Correct. And in fact, that's how I became involved in this. I have been an employee benefit guy or agent, whatever you want to call it, since 1979.
Yeah.
Jimmy Carter was still president back then. But this can be an employee benefit that doesn't cost the employer any money. It's a service that they're providing. And if it's successful, the employee picks up the tab on it. But a lot of people aren't aware that it's even out there. So we typically offer this through our employee benefit channel.
So when you talk about that, so what's the process? So if somebody, whether individual or whether, through their employer or whatever, what's the process? How does the company that you work with, how do they get this done for you? What has to be done on the end person's end, their end?
Okay. So just like with any government program, you have to meet certain qualifications.
Okay.
So what we do is we talk with the individual, gather up all of that qualification, and that could apply to any of the 70 plus different programs.
Okay.
Then what we do is we actually created the software that is a modeling software, and it takes your data and cross-checks it against all the various programs and throws out the ones that you obviously don't apply for or would qualify for. And then it focuses down on what's left. Okay, of what's left, which of these programs make sense? So you know that if you're applying for program number 63 or 27, you already meet those qualifications.
Okay.
So that's what we do, is tell you what you need. We run the modeling program. We'll even tell you what the answer is. And then you can decide if you want to use this or not. Use this. Go ahead.
Yeah. So now, what do I pay to get that analysis done?
The analysis is free. We don't charge for that.
Okay.
So in fact, you can run through that whole process. We'll say, here's the results, and maybe it's program 63 works best. You can decide, hey, Damon, I want to do that myself. I'll do all the paperwork. I'll run the gauntlet up in Washington, D.C., and that's fine. We shake hands, we part friends, and we're good to go. And statistically, you have that 3% chance of success. Okay. If you say, gee, I don't want to go through that, too many headaches, I don't want to do it, you can hire us to do that, and away we go.
Okay. What's the typical cost of hiring you guys to do that?
At the 30,000 foot level, the first year is about $760.
Okay.
400 of that is just, we pay somebody, one of our staff members, US based staff members, to drive that process all the way through the Department of Education. That's why we get such a high success rate.
Yeah.
On the go forward basis, once that's done, there's a maintenance fee, because we have to be able to continue to work with the loan service provider on that individual's behalf. Every year you have to recertify. So from that point forward, it's approximately a $30 a month fee.
Okay.
So the first year you're arguably at $760. After that, you're at $360.
And typical, let's say if I've got a $500 per month, I'm on the low end of the spectrum. Typically, what kind of a percentage reduction am I seeing?
Let me answer the question a little bit different way.
Okay.
If you looked at our entire portfolio of clients, the average reduction, as I mentioned earlier, is we've reduced the payment 63%.
Okay.
So if you had $1,000 a month payment, 63% is approximately takes you down to about $400.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the difference here is, okay, that's $400 per month. I'm taking off $600 per month of cost. I paid you $700, and I get to bank that extra $600 a month for at least a year at that point.
Correct. Now, the average dollar amount that we reduce somebody's payment by is $468 a month.
Okay.
And again, that's across the whole block of business.
Sure.
That's $5,600 a year. And you were spending that in tax. It's tax-free back to you, because it's already taxed dollars.
Yeah. So the government isn't going, oh, we're reducing that. If you negotiated down some debt or something like that, then you're going to get a tax form from the company that says, oh, you negotiated down $15,000 in debt. Now you owe taxes on that $15,000. This doesn't work that way.
Doesn't work that way. This is money you have freed up. You can go buy groceries, car payments, whatever you need to do, because you have freed up that obligation.
Or not have to live on the street because you've got student loans at that point. So
Exactly.
It makes a massive amount of sense. Let's say I've been an attorney for 10 years. Is there any chance that because I'm assuming some of this is based on income level that you receive.
Okay. Some of it's based on income level. Some of it can be based on where you live.
Okay.
Some of it can be because cost of living in different places is different amounts.
Okay.
Some of it can be your clientele. You could be, I'll give you one example. You could be a physician in New York City, earning X amount, or you in private practice. You could be a physician in Phoenix in private practice, but you spend a couple days a week working possibly on an Indian reservation. That's a medically underserved community. There are credits that get applied in their calculation formula. It is partially tied to your income, but some of these various programs can tie to race, sex, gender, household income. We have some people that have chosen no longer to file jointly, but to file separately.
Yeah.
That's one of the strategies that comes into play here. So there's a whole lot that goes into the formula. And in fact, one of the things that doesn't come into play, Jeff, is this. They don't ask you for your credit rating. The government doesn't care. You're just answering questions relative to what you do and who you are, not what your credit rating is.
And effectively a lot of this, because so much has been dumped towards the government because the government really stepped in 2008 and took over most of the student loan debt in the country, or got it to the point where there's very little private student loan debt. So the government's the biggest servicer of debt anywhere. So they're just effectively moving it from one pocket to the other.
Exactly. And in fact, you mentioned 2008, but in 2010, one of the little subsets of ACA, the Affordable Care Act, some people call it Obamacare, some people call it the Affordable Care Act. One of the provisions there was that all student loans originate at the Department of Education from this point forward.
Okay.
So you have some people in the past who still have the private debt and that, but now the bulk of them, since the last, 13 years, has been originating in the Department of Education. And there's a whole lot of people gone through school since then.
Absolutely. And there's a whole big generation of people who got out of school and haven't ever had to pay a student loan debt that are going to get a big shocker here in a couple of weeks. Right. Now, let me ask you this. Let's say I'm in a position of influence with my company and I'm like, hey, this is cool. I'm going to call Damon and see if we can bring this into our company. Is it just limited to the employee at that point? Or can, like, my kids, so if I don't have student loan debt, but my kids do have student loan debt, can we use that for them?
Yes, you can. A lot of employers look at this initially as a way to recruit employees, retain employees, reward employees who are working for them who have student loan debt. But I have a couple of clients that they pay this $30 a month payroll deduction amount out of their paycheck because it's an employer sponsored program, but they're doing it for their children or grandchildren.
Yeah.
If you're a mother or a grandmother, a father or a grandfather, and you can spend $30 and reduce your kid or grandkid's loan by hundreds a month, it's a pretty nice little deal.
Yeah, great. That's a great Christmas gift. Let's cut your student loan debt in half.
It's better than joining the Christmas club, if you remember those.
Yep, absolutely. I believe you've got a real fun story with a lady that you'd known for years in this. I think you've told me the story before about the lady that worked at the front desk at one of the places you were at.
Exactly. And you and I both live in Texas. We've seen oil booms and oil busts.
Yep.
She had a son who had a petroleum engineering degree and the commensurate high-dollar loan payment tied to that. When he graduated, we were in the oil bust cycle, and he was working a coffee barista or whatever you want to call them, because there were no petroleum engineering jobs.
Yeah.
And they were paying about $1,700 a month on his master's degree, or all the degrees loaded together. But after this program, they were paying $240 a month because he qualified for a number of the subsidy, or one of the subsidies that brought the payment down. Yeah. And it made it affordable. It made it breathable financially for him. And of course, we've come through another rise in oil and gas. So he's now secured job working as a petroleum engineer. The program
and this
did
was
what
somebody
it's supposed to do.
Had never gone to college. She just somebody you were just, you wouldn't have ever thought would be a candidate for something like this.
Correct. Yeah, I was blind to that. I never mentioned it to her just because she hadn't gone to school. But it turns out it benefited her family.
Yeah.
So case in point.
Yeah, that's life-changing money. in those cases. And it's not, I know a lot of people get really upset about reducing student loan debt and all this stuff and cutting into it. These are programs that have been out there for years. I don't have a problem in my world with, okay, if the government, if the DOE is going to provide these programs, if they're already out there, that's fine. I don't like the government deciding to just write off stuff, but I think this makes complete sense for people. When it comes to this, is there a point where, like with the program that you have, is there a point where, okay, like 1 year I'm not, or I'm eligible, maybe I get a better job or something like that. Next year, I might not be eligible for that same program. What are they doing? Are they advising for that $300 or the $30 a month? Are they advising on, here's what you could do? You could work on an Indian reservation or something like that.
Okay, rephrasing your question.
Okay.
Your situation, everybody's situation changes year to year.
Yep.
And every 12 months, you recertify or requalify with the Department of Education based upon the facts of your life at that point in time. So what happens is, as a part of that retainer fee, for lack of a better word, we're reaching out at the close of the first year, close of the second year, close of the third year, and we're saying, hey, Jeff, we got to resubmit your tax return from last year. Mm-hmm. We're asking you a battery of questions. Did you get married? Did you get divorced? Was there a death in the family? Have you adopted someone? Have you given birth to another child? Have you moved cities? You may be moving from the Panhandle up to Manhattan, two different rate base areas. We're reaching out, gathering all that information once again, re-looking at all of the programs that are available to you. And if it makes sense to change a program, then we'll do all the paperwork to make the change. If it makes sense to stay where you are, it's recertifying where you are.
Okay.
Because things change. And over 10, 20 years, things change.
Yeah. And you have to recertify every year.
You do. So if you don't recertify, nobody comes and does anything drastic to you. All they do is remove the subsidy.
Yeah.
So your payment floats back to where it was. So you really do need to recertify to keep that subsidy.
Now, when they do that, and this kind of just back to the bigger question. So how do these programs, do the programs go to the point of saying, okay, we're going to give you a subsidy towards your payment, or do they, in some cases, actually reduce the outstanding loan balance?
So they can do both.
Okay.
Some do only one of those or the other, and some do both. We have, in fact, I'm going to cheat here for just a second.
Please
so I can give you this.
There's a lot of stats here. So
there's a lot of stats here, but we have one person, they were paying $1,300 a month.
Okay.
And after we did the reprocessing, they're paying $229 a month.
Okay. So I went from a mortgage payment to a car payment in 1 month.
And then it went from a 300-month loan reamortization schedule to 120 months. So we reduced the payment, we reduced the duration, and overall, this is crazy, what they would have paid versus now, it was a 92.9% reduction.
Good God.
In checks they had to write.
Yeah.
It's life-changing, or it can be life-changing.
Yeah. That's the kind of payments that would be a house over a 20-year period of time. And you can not buy a house through the government, and you can just buy a house in general with that reduction.
We had story after story of that.
Well, and the way I look at it is, you really have nothing to lose looking into this. Whether it's a parent that's listening to this right now, a grandparent, an employer, there's nothing to lose by doing this. As an employer, what does it look like for me to bring this on board? Being basic cost for me to bring this on board as a benefit.
For the employer, there's no cost. Zero. So what we do in that situation is we have some canned letters, and typically the owner of the company writes the opening paragraph. They talk about the program, and there's actually a link in there. So you can send it out, broadcast it out by an email. So we don't have to take up employers' time, take people away from their jobs and their duties, but they've rolled out the program. People can go to that link, read about it, talk about it. They can pick up the phone and call somebody, whatever their comfort level is. Even at that point, you can actually click on another link and you're in a secured, encrypted environment, because everything we do has to be in that Department of Education approved encryption process. Because there's a lot of personal data being transmitted back and forth, and it never goes through the employer's email system. It's your email at home to our email at work. So,
and you log into your own little platform to do all this in and everything else. So it's not going back and forth in email or whatever.
Nobody in payroll or HR or executives are looking at anything. Because it never goes through their system.
Brilliant. And they don't have to be in the middle of it. That's the better part. They just get to see the end result of this. And I think if I were an employee of a company that said, hey, we realize there's a problem, there's an issue for you, especially our younger population that's just now experiencing having to pay the stuff back. If my employer said, hey, we've got this great program for you, take a look at it, see what it is. If it makes sense for you to go through the whole process, see what you can get out of it. And in some cases, the employer could even help pay for this, correct?
That's certainly their choice. But it's not an obligation.
So, exactly.
I'm going to venture out here. I'm going to throw out a couple numbers. Maybe I'm getting too much in the weeds, but if our average person saves $468 a month, which is $5,616 a year, an employer would have to give a raise of almost $9,000. Because remember, the employer's stacking FICA on top of that. The employee's stacking FICA and income taxes. By the time for all that to net down to $5,600, the employer's got to pay $9,000. And here they can just offer a program that's going to save money.
The net, they're going to end up better off, and the employer hasn't had to spend a dime.
Exactly.
That's phenomenal. Is there an individual way to do this too? Non-employer?
Yes. It's the exact same process. It's just instead of paying through a payroll deduction at an employer basis, you pay through a credit card or a bank draft.
Perfect. So easy, simple process to get going. If somebody's interested in that, what is the best way to either get a hold of you, or where should they go to learn more about this?
What we can do, we can send some information to you. You could actually post it. It could be something in your email system with a few pieces that explains it. When your people reach out to you, it can just be already there sitting on your desktop.
What we'll do, folks, is we'll actually inside the show notes, so just look down below wherever you're at, whether it's on the podcast or on YouTube, just look down into the show notes. We'll have a link in there so that you can just follow that link and go to wherever you need to. This will help you learn a little bit about it, and we'll make sure you guys are taken care of. This is one of the things I'm like, if you can figure out a way to get something accomplished for a lower dollar amount, it's only going to improve your life down the road. And it's money that, you're not having to pay towards an education. You're actually utilizing it for something else. It would be wonderful to take that, let's say $300, $400, $500, $600 and apply that to something else to get yourself to financial freedom at that point. Damon, thank you for being on today. I appreciate it. It was a wonderful amount of information. Audience, please take this into account. If you have sons, daughters, nieces, nephews, yourself, and you're facing student loan debt, it's an opportunity to take a look at this. The worst case scenario is you don't qualify for something. But in the past, they've had about 80% of people that qualify for some of this. So the odds are in your favor that you can get some kind of subsidy at that point. So Damon, thank you for being on today.
All right. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. And folks, as always, wherever you're watching this, make sure that you hit that subscribe button, Give us an upvote, make a comment, whatever, ask questions through the comments. We'll make sure that we're answering those and getting you in contact with whoever can help you the best. So thanks a lot, and we will see you guys back here the very next time.